think we are live. Hmm. Okay. Welcome. Welcome to episode 2 of the show where I read research articles or struggle to read research articles and we learn things about really cool things that animals, I almost said aliens, that animals can do. And this one is passive electroreception in bottlenose dolphins. Implication for micro and large scale orientation. So this article just caught my eye. It sounds very interesting. So let's get started. Electroreception, the ability to perceive weak electric fields, is found almost exclusively in aquatic or semi-aquatic species and can be either active or passive. While weakly electric fish, gymnotiformes and mormiiformes generate electricity discharges, electric organ discharges, EODs, with special electric organs for active electrolocation or electrocommunication. Wow. Passive electroreceptive species can only detect electric signals from their environment. Okay, just a fair warning. I'm going to mispronounce a lot of words. I do not. I'm gonna look up this fish. I want to see what this fish looks like. Looks more like an eel to me. Electric eels. Wow. So these guys can shoot electricity, producing electric fields to detect prey for navigation communication. In this case of the electric eel, attack and defense. Damn, that is so cool. Wow. Okay. Weak bioelectric fields are a reliable short-range source of information for passive electroreceptive animals, as all organisms produce electric current DC fields in the water owing to ion flow during osmoregulation and general cell activity. So I think osmoregulation is when your cells are letting certain molecules into the cell. Oh wait, no, I'm wrong. This controls the amount of salt concentration of this controls the balance of salt and water in a fish's body. Wow. Okay. Good to know. For example, the standing DC field can be modulated by low frequency alternating current, AC potential, which is caused by respiratory muscle activity. Okay. So it's like, do fish have lungs? They do not have lungs. That's what the gills do. Okay. I thought maybe the gills bring the oxygen to the lungs. Okay. All right. I am not a scientist. In addition, okay, hold on. I lost my place here. Muscle activity. Bioelectric fields facilitate essential activities such as finding prey, locating a mating partner, and avoiding predators. In addition, passive electroreception generally has the potential for large-scale orientation based on the perception of geomagnetic fields through electromagnetic induction in marine habitats. So I wonder if these fish always know like which direction north is, like they have an internal compass. Passive electroreception has evolved independently across different taxa. It is found in almost all non-teleost fish, 4 groups of teleost fish. All right, I need to know what that is. And some amphibians. Also, it's interesting that dolphins are mammals, and like the electric eel is not at all close to being a mammal, and fish like these. So I guess there's just something about being in the water that makes being able to sense electromagnetic fields really important. Homerical tail, which have upper and lower halves. Okay, so I suppose tail. Just trying to figure out what this looks like. Okay. They have an upper and they have an equal. Their toes are more symmetrical. They're not their toes. Their tails are more symmetrical. Among mammals, passive electroreception has experimentally been demonstrated in monotreme species, Tachyoglossus osculatus, and Ornithorhynchus ammonatus. Monotreme. I have heard of this word. We're going to need to know what this means. Oh, it's like platypi. Okay, cool. All right. As well as in the Guiana dolphin and the bottlenose dolphin. For the platypus, behavioral studies revealed detection thresholds of 25 to 50 UV microvolts maybe? Microvolts per centimeter. Whereas the Guinea dolphin still detected weak electric fields of 4.6 microvolts per centimeter. In the Guiana dolphin, I need to learn how to pronounce this. It's the first result. Either they're listening to me or this is common.
Guiana.
All right. Exclusion tests identified modified vibricial follicles located in 2 rows on both sides of the upper rostrum as electroreceptors. Wow, so they have like little hairs that detect these. Rostrum. Okay, I suppose rostrum is like a long nose. Upper jawbone. Okay, it's not a nose. It'd be like if the upper part of our jaw protruded. Okay. The dolphins lose their vibricial hairs shortly after birth, and only the hairless vibricial crypts remain. Contrary to earlier thermographic investigations, which suggested, except for the missing hair, intact vibricial follicle sinus complexes, In the Guiana dolphin, the vibricial crypts lack most of the classic follicle structures. Instead, each crypt consists of the ampulla-shaped invagation of the epidermal integument, densely innervated by 300 axons derived from infraorbital branches of the trigemial nerve. Wow. Lots of difficult words here. Infraorbital, that is like a direction, okay, of the trigemial nerve. I'm going to see if this is important, maybe. Fifth cranial nerve and the largest of the cranial nerves. Okay, wow. That's really cool, this diagram. So what is it saying here? Okay. This overall structure closely resembles the structure of other ampullary electroreceptors, such as the mucus gland electroreceptors of the platypus and ampullae of Lorenzini of sharks and rays. The electroreceptive capabilities of the Guiana dolphin support the benthic foraging strategy described for the species. We're going to need to know what that means. Benthic foraging. Anything associated with or occurring at the bottom of a body of water. Okay, so I think that just means that their strategy is finding food on the bottom, on the bottom of the ocean, like the surface of the sand. Furthermore, analysis of the stomach contents of Brazilian dolphin species suggests that demersal fish represent their main prey. Field studies on foraging Guiana dolphins found that after diving, dolphins often breach amidst clouds of mud with their bodies covered by benthic sediment. This indicates that they search for bottom-dwelling fish, which they dig for in the sediment. Okay. To do so, a dolphin might use passive electrosensory capability, at short range when vision and or echolocation is restricted. Using the benthos as a foraging niche is suggested for several odontocyte species, including the bottlenose dolphin. I believe the odontocyte is just a group of dolphins. Toothed whales. Very good. Bottlenose dolphin, for which a strategy known as crater feeding has been described. Recent studies revealed that the vibricial crypts on the rostrum of the neonate bottlenose dolphin still show many of the structural characteristics of vibricial follicle sinus complexes in terrestrial mammals. However, those in adult bottlenose dolphins show profound transformations and ultimately resemble the ampullary vibricial cysts described for the electroreceptive Guiana dolphin. The structural transformation of the vibricial cysts in adult bottlenose dolphins to ampullary systems accompanied by the innervation of each crypt by 245 myelinated axons, a value that comes close to that determined for vibricial crypts in the Guyana dolphin. I wonder if I'm pronouncing this right. Vibricial crypts. I hope so. I don't know if it's like an S sounding C or not. X whisker pits. Oh wow. You can see them. Compared with terrestrial mammals, the innervation of the vibricial crypts in dolphins is similar to or even surpasses that of the follicle sinus complexes of species considered to be richly innervated, thereby demonstrating that they cannot be regarded as rudimentary structures. Accordingly, Hunter et al., that is the main author of this research paper that we're reading right now, conducted behavioral experiments in which 4 bottlenose dolphins were tested for electroreception using a stimulus generalization paradigm. All 4 dolphins responded spontaneously to the first presentation of a weak electric field of 1500 microvolts per centimeter. 3 of them reliably detected electric field strengths reduced to 500 microvolts per centimeter. Just going to make sure that this is volts that they're looking for right here, because microvolt. Yep. All right, good. After these prior data clarified that the bottlenose dolphin must always also be considered an electroreceptive species, we examined in this follow-up study the sensitivity of the system by determining detection thresholds for weak electrical DC and AC fields for 2 bottlenose dolphins. Because any electrosensitive organ can positively sense a magnetic field, we discussed the potential importance beyond close-range function of the passive electroreception in dolphins for large-scale orientation. One thing that just occurred to me is that, everyone knows that electricity conducts well through water. So maybe that's why all these aquatic species developed this ability. But I'm curious to know, how much is 500 microvolts? Is that, what does it take to, power a lamp or something? A millivolts. Is 500 volts strong? Okay, well, that microvolts is a lot less. I'm assuming it's pretty weak. Okay. This study was conducted with 2 female bottlenose dolphins named Dolly and Donna. The dolphins were kept at the Nuremberg Zoo, Germany, together with 5 other dolphins and a group of California sea lions. Oh, were they in the same aquarium? That's cool. The dolphin enclosure consists of 6 outdoor pools connected with an indoor area with 3 or more pools. Experiments were carried out with one animal at a time, once a day, generally 5 days per week. During an experimental session, the animals received approximately 20% of their daily diet. Why? 1 to 2 kilograms of capelin, herring, sprat, and squid. Dolly and Donna previously participated in a study that demonstrated their ability to detect DC electric stimuli as low as 500 microvolts per centimeter. Okay. Both female dolphins. Maybe that has something to do with it. Because I think they were saying that the other dolphins were not able to detect that weak. Yeah, so only 3 of the dolphins could detect 500 microvolts. So I guess it was only one of the dolphins they weren't able to demonstrate that one dolphin wasn't able to. All experiments were conducted in accordance with the European Communities Council Directive of this 22nd of September 2010 and the German Animal Welfare Act of 2006. The individuals involved in the study were not subject to pain, suffering, or injury. Therefore, no approval or notification was required. So they were just hungry, but not starving, I guess. Experimental setup and stimulus generation. Experiments were conducted in a round indoor pool. Sessions were carried out by the experimenter and trainer who was handling the dolphin between trials. A cubic-formed apparatus was built from PVC tubes and was placed in the pool prior to the start of each session. For each trial, a dolphin entered the submerged apparatus through a square opening and touched a target, plastic ball, in the center with the tip of its rostrum. Okay. Additionally, the dolphins learned to place their lower jaw on the U-shaped station in front of the target to ensure a consistent head position during each trial. An underwater camera attached to the apparatus on the right-hand screen of the dolphin was connected to a small monitor screen so that the experimenter could observe the dolphin's behavior in each trial. Presentation of the stimulus began when the tested dolphin was resting its rostrum jaw on the station while remaining calmly in the apparatus. A second underwater camera was used to record all sessions. Oh, I wish we could get those videos, but here is, I thought I'd just blow up this picture. So there's the vibrational cysts you can kind of see there. Wow, rostrum. I'm going to be using that word. Okay. To exclude any unintentional cueing by the experimenter, a white visual cover was attached to the apparatus above the dolphin station. The experimenter was sitting on land behind the apparatus and out of sight of the dolphin. As soon as he had entered out of sight of the dolphin, as soon as they had entered the apparatus. To eliminate secondary acoustic cues potentially associated with the generation of an electric field, a powerful water jet was directed onto the water surface at a distance of 2 meters from the experimental apparatus to create an acoustic masking similar to white noise. Okay, so they're trying to make sure it's just electricity. There's no noise from the electric sensor or electric electrode. For the generation of weak electric dipole fields, 2 mechanically stable copper wire electrodes, 1 centimeter long, 2 millimeter in diameter, and 1 centimeter apart, were placed approximately 10 centimeters above the dolphin's rostrum. Okay, yeah, that was figure C. So this is this thing right here. The location of the electrodes directly in front of the dolphins, directly in front of the dolphin's melon prevented the dolphins from seeing them while stationing. The location of the electrodes directly in front of the dolphin's melon prevented the dolphins from seeing them while stationing, owing to the blind area above the rostrum. Okay. Furthermore, any secondary cues perceived via echolocation were associated with the onset of electrical fields due to electrochemical reactions, and subsequent microbubbles on one electrode were also considered to be non-detectable. The electrode itself would create a much stronger echo that would overshadow any possible cues caused by electric stimulus. The electrodes were connected to a custom-built electric field generator, EFG, powered by three 12-volt batteries that acted as a constant current source, created a floating electric circuit. Electric field strength was adjusted using a multi-turned wire-wound potentiometer. Multi-turned wire-wound potentiometer. Looking this up. Adjustable voltage divider. This is, I don't know anything about electricity. The stimulus generator was connected to a digital current meter to monitor the applied current. Either direct current DC or alternating current AC electric field stimuli were applied by switching the voltage on and off, thus driving the electrodes directly. To exclude any possible polarization effects owing to the usage of copper electrodes, as well as impedance differences between on and off state control measurements of the presented electric fields, were conducted before and after every session. Despite their lower electrochemical stability, this allowed the use of solid copper electrodes, which show a better resistance against potential contact with the animals and other mechanical impacts. DC stimuli were presented by generating a square wave pulse of adjustable length. Stimulus duration was defined as 3 seconds based on a timer chip. AC stimuli were presented by generating a square wave periodic signal symmetry to 0 volts using 3 different frequencies, 1, 5, and 25 hertz. Instead of the more frequently used sinusoidal wave signals, we decided to use square wave signals, as for example in the studies by Gijcraft and Kalmijn. Man, I'm very sorry. And because of the better reproductive ability using standard timing circuits, the root mean squared value of waves of square wave signals is approximately 30% higher compared to sinusoidal signals. With the same frequency and amplitude, which could influence the determination of the sensory detection threshold. However, the threshold values determined so far for electric direct and alternating fields in sharks and dolphins are subject to large fluctuations in absolute values, so no direct influence of signal shape can be derived from this. Moreover, it is unclear whether the RMS value is the critical parameter or, for example, the amplitude, as long as the sensory transduction process in dolphins has not been described. Also, the upper cutoff frequency of sensory systems could be influenced by the signal shape depending on stimulus transduction. Wow. The electric field at the location of the upper jaw of a stationing dolphin was measured before and after each session using two non-polarizable AG CL electrodes. AG, what metal is that? Oh, that's silver. Okay, for some reason I always get that confused with gold. So gold is AU. Cool. All right. Connected to a custom-built high-impedance electric field detector. The measurement electrodes were placed in alignment with the stimulus electrodes for a maximal voltage drop. To monitor the DC electric field stimulus, the amplifier was connected to a digital voltmeter connected to a battery-powered laptop running a recording software. The default recording interval was approximately 2 Hz. AC electric field strength and frequency were measured via digital oscilloscope. Channel 50 megahertz. Rigol Technologies. Okay, that's the name of the company. That was connected to EFD. Okay, I'm gonna look up what a oscilloscope is. It's a new word for me. Is a type of electronic test instrument graphically displays varying voltages of one or more signal functions at a time. Okay. So they got the dolphin in this little station, and they're blasting it with some electricity, and then they have these little sensors measuring that electricity. But how are they going to know if the dolphin senses it? We measured the rostrums of both dolphins to the nearest millimeter and determined the position of the vibrational crypts on the upper rostrum individually for the 2 test animals. The measurement electrodes were then placed below the stimulus electrodes at the location of the nearest vibrational crypt to allow for the most precise measurement of the electric field strength reaching the rostrum. Because the dolphins stationed both at the target and the resting platform, a reproducible exposure of the dolphin's rostrum in the respective electric field was achieved. Although the construction of the apparatus and the animal training were optimized for threshold determination in stationary dolphins, it must be taken into account that ultimately freely behaving animals were the test subjects. Because of the attenuation of the electric dipole field with the third power of the distance and the curved field geometry, small distance variances in the centimeter range between the rostrum and the stimulating electrode or small changes in the vibrational crypt's orientation within the electric field have a significant effect on the electric field value relevant for the animal. So I could be wrong, but are they saying that the vibrational crypts on the dolphin's rostrum move around? The stimulating electrode or small changes in the vibrational crypt orientation, okay, within the electrical field have significant effects on the electric field value relevant for the animal. Errors here include individual differences in the position of each animal tested, as well as the stimulus transduction to be identified. In this study, the dorsal rostrum surface was exposed to a lateral directed electric field optimal for stimulation of opposite vibrissae crypts on both sides of the rostrum. If the dorsoventral anteroposterior receptor arrangements or the receptor circuitry is one of greater importance for stimulus reception, strongly divergent absolute threshold values could result. Wow, this is so hard. This is hard to read. This requires further investigation with correspondingly variable field geometries. Okay. We're getting to the procedure. A go/no-go task was used to determine the sensory threshold for DC and AC electric field signals. The Dolphins were already trained on this test paradigm from the study in 2022. During go trials, a correct response hit occurred if the Dolphins left the station within 5 seconds of stimulus onset. Otherwise, the response was regarded as incorrect or a miss. During no-go trials, the correct response was when the dolphin remained in the station for more than 12 seconds. During a no-go trials, stimulus absent trials, okay. So when the dolphin left the station before 12 seconds, the response was regarded as incorrect or false alarm. All sessions were conducted by a trainer who had handled the dolphins and the experimenter who controlled the apparatus. As soon as the animals stationed properly, the experimenter did or did not present an electric stimulus. So they're just seeing if the dolphins will stay in the area once they apply electricity to it. The copper electrodes, which present at all times so that the only difference between go and no-go trials was the presence or absence of electric stimulus. During a session, go trials and no-go trials were conducted following a pseudo-random order. The trainer had no knowledge of whether a go or no-go trial was being conducted. Observing the dolphins' responses via underwater camera, correct responses of the tested animal were secondarily reinforced by an immediate short whistle sound by the experimenter. Why? Which was also the sign for the trainer that the tested dolphin's response was correct, meaning they left, or meaning that they either stayed if there was no electricity or left when there was electricity. The dolphins were then rewarded with fish by the trainer and sent back to the apparatus for the next trial. False responses were immediately signaled by the experimenter with 3 short repetitive whistle sounds. In this case, the dolphins did not receive a reward from their trainer, but were sent to the apparatus for the next trial. Okay, so the dolphins can sense the electricity, that they're making it kind of into a game. So if the dolphins can sense the electricity, they get fish. Or if they can tell if there's electricity or not, they get fish, if they can correctly identify that. As in the study by Czech Daniel et al., Detection thresholds of the bottlenose dolphin were determined using a combination of the staircase method and the method of constant stimuli, with the threshold defined as the electric field strength. The dolphins could still detect 50% of the trials. Okay. A predetermined measured set of stimuli was used in the tests, 500 going all the way down to 3, and going all the way down to 2 microvolts per centimeter. For each electric field strength used, to approach the threshold of the subject, a minimum of 30 stimulus-present trials were carried out. Okay, so for each one of these strengths here, they're doing 30 trials, which were the spread of over at least 3 consecutive sessions. Because the detection performance of both dolphins for stimuli whose intensity was well above the threshold was almost faultless, further sessions were carried out if their performances fell below 80% correct responses with the newly introduced stimuli strength. In these sessions, the last better detected stimulus strength was offered first again with the new stimulus intensity interspersed. Okay. If a dolphin's performance improved with the previously poorly directed stimulus intensity, 3 pure sessions with this electric field strength were conducted again with a total of 30 stimulus present trials. Before the next 30 stimulus present trials before the next weaker stimulus intensity was introduced. After the threshold determination for DC fields was completed, the 2 dolphins were tested for their ability to receive electric AC fields. Test frequencies were chosen, 1, 5, and 25 hertz, each tested separately. Here are the results. Threshold determination for DC electric fields started with an electric field strength of 0.5 microvolts per centimeter. The stimulus intensity that both animals formerly detected in a 96% of the stimulus present trials. Dolly achieved 100% correct detections in 30 stimulus present trials, while Donna failed to respond only once in 30 trials. Wow. Stimulus intensity was then gradually reduced. So that's at 0.5 millivolts. So that's way higher than, that's like the highest one. Stimulus intensity was gradually reduced following the predetermined stimulus set. Interestingly, with the first reduction in stimuli intensity, Dolly often started a trial by repeatedly moving her rostrum horizontally from side to side, right below the stimulus electrodes, before she stationed herself with the tip of her rostrum at the target, up to a field strength of 125 microvolts per centimeter. The hit rate of Dolly was above 93%. Nice. Here, her performance dropped to 77% for the first time, but after a total of 7 training sessions, she again reached 93.3%. Wow, so they're making them better at sensing electricity, or maybe they're just understanding the game. Hits in the last 30 stimulus present trials. Dude, it's honestly crazy how smart dolphins are. Well, I guess this is like, you're making this game with them, and they I feel like they understand what they're doing a little bit. Like, they know that the humans want them to identify whether there's electricity or not. This improvement in performance during the training sessions was almost the same with the field strength of 100 microvolts per centimeter. 90% hits in the last 30 in the last 30 stimulus-present trials after 8 sessions. With electrical field strengths of 75, 50, 40, and 30, Dolly showed hit rates above 83%. Already, the first 30 stimulus-present trials, already in the first 30 stimulus-present trials, also with field strengths of 20, 10, and 7, Dolly ultimately achieved high hit rates of 96.6, 90%, and 83%. But with these stimulus intensities, she required significantly more training sessions, than before. Correspondingly, the next weaker stimulus intensity, 5 microvolts per centimeter, her hit rate dropped to 37.5 and remained at a chance level there afterwards. I guess that seems to be there after 7, so around 5 is where they can't sense it anymore. Because Dolly was very reluctant to cooperate at this weak field strength, an intensive training phase could no longer be carried out. Interpolated from her performance at the last electric field strength above the threshold of 7 microvolts per centimeter, and that at the field strength below a threshold of 5 microvolts per centimeter, Dolly's detection threshold at a hit rate of 50% was thus 5.5 microvolts per centimeter. So that is what they're saying is where they can't sense it. So I just wanted to look at this graph here. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Hit rate percent. This is the hits and false alarms percent. Dolly versus Donna. This is the electric field strength. So yeah, it just plummets right at this spot for both of them. That's interesting. So false alarms are these. So yeah, that makes sense. They had almost no false alarms at the higher voltage. With a hit rate between 83.3% and 100%, Donna's performance was very stable over the various stimulus attenuations up to a stimulus strength of 20 microvolts per centimeter, which she also detected in 100% of the stimulus-present trials. Up to this electric field strength, her hit rate only fell briefly to a chance level at 100 microvolts per centimeter, but it was again 83% after a total of 3 additional sessions. With a field strength of 10 microvolts per centimeter, Donna needed a total of 15 training sessions to finally achieve a hit rate of 96.6% again. At a field strength of 7 microvolts per centimeter, her performance dropped only briefly to 66%, but again at 96.6% after only 7 training sessions. Donna still detected field strengths between 5 and 3 microvolts per centimeter at 83% and 80% of the respective last 30 stimulus-present trials conducted before her performance at a 2 microvolts per centimeter dropped to 33%. And like Dolly, it became increasingly difficult to motivate her to cooperate. Interpolated from these data, her detection threshold was 2.4 microvolts per centimeter. Wow. So Dolly is a little bit better at sensing it than Donna. Wow. At first, 1 Hz AC signals with a stimulus intensity clearly above the previous determined threshold for DC fields were tested. Dolly reached a hit rate of 80%. Okay, was that all just DC? Yeah, it was. Okay. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. At first, 1 Hz AC signals with a stimulus intensity clearly above the previously determined threshold for DC fields was tested. Dolly reached a hit rate of 80% at an AC field strength of 35 microvolts per centimeter before her detection performance fell to 60% correct at 30 microvolts per centimeter, and 20 microvolts per centimeter no longer was detected. Donna still reliably detected 1 Hz electric fields as low as 15 microvolts per centimeter with a hit rate of 90%. However, she could no longer detect the next stimulus attenuation of 10 microvolts per centimeter. Accordingly, sensory thresholds for 1 Hz AC fields interpolated from this data were 28.9 microvolts per centimeter for Dolly and 11.7 microvolts per centimeter for Donna. So I guess one of them's better at different frequencies or something. I guess it's variable. Or maybe that's just, what would you call that? An error in the study or a chance there. After the frequency was set to 5 Hz, Dolly did not respond above chance level anymore. When the field strength was increased to 100 microvolts, Dolly did not respond to the chance level anymore, even when the field strength was increased to 100 microvolts. Okay, so the frequency is definitely mattering here. In contrast, Donna responded well to the AC fields of 5 Hz as well as 25 Hz. With a 5 Hz AC field of 25 microvolts per centimeter, she achieved a hit rate of 80%. However, after a slight attenuation of stimulus intensity to 20 microvolts per centimeter, her performance dropped to a hit rate of 30%, so that a detection threshold of 22.3 microvolts per centimeter resulted for this stimulus quality. As Dolly already failed to detect 5 Hz AC fields, stimuli with a frequency of 25 Hz were only tested with Donna. At this frequency, a detection threshold of 35.3 microvolts per centimeter was determined for Donna. Discussion. Here, let's look at these results here. So, it's the same type of graph. Hits. I'm a little bit confused here. Oh, those are the different frequencies. So yeah, so Dolly had trouble with the other frequencies. So it seems like maybe the DC current's a lot easier for them to detect for some reason. In the study by Hunter et al. In 2022, it was shown that the vibrissae crypts of the bottlenose dolphins are very similar in structure and innervation to those of the electroreceptive Guiana dolphins. Following a cognitive approach, the study also demonstrated that 4 bottlenose dolphins responded to weak electric DC fields. The detection thresholds determined in the present study confirm this result by showing that the absolute sensitivity of bottlenose dolphins to DC electric fields also compares well with that of the Guiana dolphin. While the threshold value determined by Check-Damal et al. In 2012 for the Guiana dolphin was 4.6 microvolts per centimeter, the 2 test subjects in the present study reached a threshold of 5.5 to 2.4 microvolts per centimeter, respectively. Thus, behavioral detection thresholds of the two odontocyte species tested so far for the electroreception are in the same order of magnitude as those determined in the monotreme platypus. Oh, cool. Starting with the first attenuations of the electric field strength, Dolly repeatedly moved her rostrum horizontally from side to side beneath the stimulus electrodes before stationing on the target as if searching for electric stimulus. While foraging, both the platypus and the paddlefish also showed movements in their electroreceptive organs in the horizontal plane, potentially to enhance prey detection. So I wonder if they're able to do a study like these with other species, because I imagine it'd be really difficult to, I mean, dolphins are super intelligent, so I imagine it'd be difficult for them to like create this setup with another animal. The fact that in our psychophysical experiments, such movements of the rostrum of the dolphin were suppressed by the type of stationing may well have an impact on the threshold values. Dolly and Donna also responded well to low-frequency AC electric fields, but the threshold for AC fields was generally higher than those determined by DC. Hertz AC field was higher by a factor of 5 compared with each animal's respective DC threshold. Yeah. The threshold for the AC was higher by a factor of 5. So, yeah, they're much better at detecting DC fields. Moreover, the capability of Donna to detect AC electric fields higher than 1 Hz decreased with the increasing stimulus frequency. Although Donna was able to detect 5 and 25 Hz signals, she could only do that after the electric field strength had been increased by at least a factor of 2. We have little insight into the physiology of electroreception in toothed whales, but it is interesting that the ratio of detectability of DC and AC fields in dolphins is similar to that in elasmobranchs. I need to look this up. Elasmobranchs. Whoa. It's an ugly shark. Maybe I shouldn't say it's ugly. It's a shark. Okay. It's a class of sharks. Naturally occurring bioelectric fields can be described as dynamic electric fields consisting of a standing DC dipole electric field modulated by low-frequency AC components arising, for example, from ion exchange process and gill respiratory movements. So they can sense, maybe it's saying that they can sense, what is it saying? They can sense maybe the breathing of other fish. Several studies have shown that sharks and rays respond best to DC electric field signals, but also to low-frequency AC potentials less than 20 Hz. Rays only showed good detection capability for AC fields of 16 and 32 Hz after increasing the electric field strength by a factor of 8 and 32 respectively, whereas 2 shark species no longer responded to AC stimuli with frequencies greater than 16 Hz. Although the ampullary electroreceptors of the elasmobranchs are not DC sensitive, the movement of the animal relative to the stimulus source causes standing DC electric field signals to automatically be converted into low-frequency AC signals, which represent an adequate stimulus. Taking these relationships into account for the electroreception of toothed whales, tests in which the animals can perceive weak electric fields while moving would be an interesting extension of the present experimental approach. Wow, that's so crazy. I wonder if humans make these electric fields when we move, or maybe it's, like I said, because electricity is conducted so much better in water that that's why no species on land have developed this ability. It has been discussed that passive electroreception in elasmobranch and monotreme and the monotreme platypus and other odontocetids. Well, I take that back because I guess platypuses or platypi, they do live on land part-time. They're kind of amphibious. May serve the functional role of prey. Sorry, I need to read that again. The passive electroreception in those species may serve the functional role of prey detection during benefic foraging strategies. Bioelectric fields generated by typical prey are in the range of 50 to 500 microvolts in teleost fish, whereas wounded crustaceans generate even stronger electric fields of more than 1 microvolt per centimeter. Wow, so yeah, this is definitely enough for them to detect animals. Based on an average detection threshold of 35 nanovolts per centimeter. Obtained from literature data across various elasmobranch species, Bedore and Kajuria calculated the electrical field strength as a function of distance for the electric fields emanating from distant prey fish and interpolated from these data a detection range of 0.3 to 0.7 meters for sharks. That's kind of, yeah, okay. That's, I guess, yeah, if you're scanning along the floor, that's pretty good distance. This underlines the empirical data showing that the steep decay in electric potentials with distance from the source, even in the highly sensitive elasmobranch, only allow for short-range prey detection. Okay, taking these calculations into account, thresholds determined for the bottlenose dolphin in the present study would indicate they can detect the same fish species considered for sharks at a distance of 3 to 7 centimeters. Okay, that's not that much. They really have to be right up there. Although the detection range for weak electric fields for the bottlenose dolphin is thus significantly lower than in elasmobranchs, the electroreception could still facilitate benefic prey detection at short distances. In general, toothed whales are able to detect a non-detect visible prey through echolocation. Echolocating dolphins can detect solid objects as small as 8 centimeters at a distance of more than 110 meters. Whoa. And live fish in their natural habitat at a distance of 93 meters. In a benefic feeding strategy, an echolocating dolphin may detect fish buried 30 centimeters in sediment from some distance. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So echolocation seems to be a lot more effective for them than electroreception. Crater feeding or bottom feeding, bottom grubbing bottlenose dolphins may bury themselves deeply into the sea floor to catch fish hidden in the sediment, where object detection by echolocation is possibly limited owing to the reverberation and scattering effects of the sea floor. As a high degree of water turbidity and inevitably results in the benefic foraging strategies, vision towards potential prey should also be maximally occluded. Relying on other modalities such as electroreception, tactile or hydrodynamic perception, and integrating all sensory information is then important to ensure prey capture. Unlike dolphins, sharks initially use their sense of smell instead of sight or hearing to detect and track prey. In attacking their prey, however, electroreception is not only essential for benefic feeding but also required for successful capture of pelagic prey. Pelagic is a word I need to learn. Pelagic fish live in the pelagic zone of the ocean or lake waters, being neither close to the bottom or near the shore, in contrast with, so they live in the middle of the ocean, altitude-wise. In a sensory deprivation experiment with 3 shark species, Gardiner in 2014 found that without the presence of electric cues, the sharks were unable to grab prey even when located directly in front of their mouths. As previously suggested for the Guiana dolphin, bottlenose dolphins could also benefit from their electroreceptive capability just prior to prey capture. Although their acoustic senses, including echolocation and passive hearing, as well as their good visual abilities, are most likely used for initial prey localization, their passive electroreception allows short-range prey detection and the goal-oriented snapping of prey fish in a benefic foraging strategy. So they're saying that echolocating is difficult if a fish is buried under a bunch of sediment on the floor of the ocean. That makes sense. Like it would just be, if you're echolocating, is like, you bounce a sound off a wall or bounce a sound off an object, and then you know how far away that object is. But if you're under something, it wouldn't work if the prey is under something. Beneath the role of electroreception and beyond the role of electroreception in foraging odontocytes, there is a good reason to hypothesize that this sensory ability may also support a large-scale orientation through the use of Earth's magnetic field. Evidence for magnetoreception that cetaceans has already been drawn from the observation that the location and timing of cetacean live strandings are often associated with geomagnetic anomalies. The location of timing of cetacean live strandings. What is a live stranding? Oh, wow. So they're saying that sorry, I lost my place here. Yeah, so they're saying that dolphins tend to be stranded more where there's geomagnetic anomalies. So where there's something disrupting the electromagnetic fields around them. Sorry, I need to find my place here again. Here we go. Or with the perturbations of geomagnetic fields caused by solar storms. The migration routes of fin whales are also suggested to be explainable by a map-like use of Earth's magnetic field. Wow, that's so crazy. Based on the detection of magnetic material, including magnetite, and in the matter of Delphis, which it has been suggested that orientation of the Earth's magnetic field in cetaceans may be derived from a magnetic-based system. A mechanism which, among others, is also assumed for other vertebrates. In behavioral tests, however, bottlenose dolphins showed no or only weak reactions to magnetic stimuli. Huh. Because electric magnetic fields are closely linked with the marine environment, and given that electrosensitive organisms and given that any electrosensitive organism can potentially sense a magnetic field, it is possible that the ability of dolphins to detect weak electric fields bear the potential for orientation to Earth's magnetic field through induction-based magnetoreception. Whoa. Magnetoreception. We're going to look up this word real fast. That's so crazy. I know people have said that they think this is how birds know which direction south is when the winter hits. That's interesting. As described for sharks, induction-based magnetoreception means that an animal experiences potential discernible differences induced in its body as it swims through the Earth's magnetic field. For a horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field of 25 UT, I don't know what that unit is. The induced electric field strength of a swimming speed of 1 meter per second is a maximum of 0.25 microvolts per centimeter. What is that saying? Okay, so they're saying that this amount of magnetism would so this amount of magnetism while swimming at this speed would result in this amount of voltage. However, owing to linear dependence of a swimming speed of 10 meters per second, which has been measured well within the swim speed range for dolphins, would induce an electric field of 2.5 microvolts per centimeter. This means that a dolphin might have some control over the perceptibility of the Earth's magnetic field via its own swimming speed. By following a strategy, swim faster when higher sensitivity to geomagnetic fields is required, geomagnetic field lines is required, another source of electromagnetic information potentially important for whale orientation may include electric fields induced by salty water masses, such as ocean currents or tidal currents moving across the Earth's magnetic field. Such so-called motional electric fields lead to compensating currents with electrical field strengths of 0.08 to 8 microvolts per centimeter. Hypotheses regarding a magnetic or induction-based mechanism for potential orientations of cetaceans in geomagnetic field need not be mutually exclusive. In sharks, it has also been discussed that both magnetoreceptor that both magnetoreceptor systems are involved in the orientation of the Earth's magnetic field using the induction-based system to obtain the compass heading relative to the direction of travel, while a magnetic-based system is useful for detecting anomalies and changes in magnetic field strength. The detection thresholds for weak electric fields of the Guiana dolphin and those of the bottlenose dolphins tested in the present study are a magnitude that seems to indicate the possibility of induction-based magnetoreception. However, it is important to consider open questions such as the effects of the method in which the animals are exposed to an electric field, the unknown pathway of stimulus transmission, or animal movement in relation to the electric field. Because these effects may impact sensitivity, an expanded approach to understanding electroreception in odontocytes is required. This opens up a new field of research with the potential to find answers to unexplained phenomena such as the correlation between live whale strandings and geomagnetic anomalies. Wow. Okay, there you have it. We learned about the secret powers of dolphins and other animals like whales and sharks. This is a study by Tim Hunter, I believe, Lorenzo von Fersen, Lars Meerschus, and Guidor Dainhard. I'm very sorry for the mispronunciation. I am, not the greatest speaker, but this is the type of content that I would love to see, and so I just decided to make it myself, and hopefully someone else enjoys it too. And